Welcome to Wedding Show Success. We've created this series of videos to help you make the most of your investment in the Bridal and Wedding Expo. In this video, we'll talk about designing and setting up an attractive, effective booth at the Expo. Other videos in this series will talk about preparing booth staff, promoting yourself before the show, and offer tips on how to collect leads as well as making more sales at and after the show. So let's get started. When designing your booth at the Expo, think of it as a pop-up shop in a mall full of wedding professionals. How will the shop look? What will you need for a successful shop? How will you stand out from your competitors? Let's start with the basics. Most booths are 10 by 10 feet in size. In some venues, they are 8 by 10. They include an 8-foot high white back drape, 3-foot high white drape side panels, and a small identification sign. A great way to start planning your booth is to find a space in your house, basement, or garage, or really anywhere where you can mark off a 10 by 10 foot plot. Physically set up what you want to put in your booth. For example, are you going to need a table? Put one in your booth square. Do the same thing with every physical item you plan on putting in the booth. You'll see what works and what doesn't, and what additional items you need to order, such as tables, chairs, electricity, etc. As you're setting up the sample booth, also keep a list of everything you used to set it up so you know what to bring to the expo. One thing a lot of exhibitors don't think about is the flooring in your booth. We recommend you get some type of flooring. No matter how fit you are or what kind of shoes you're wearing, no one can stand on a concrete floor for hours and not be in pain. You can bring in your own carpet or consider investing in interlocking floor tiles. They're cushioned, reusable, and won't damage the hall floors. Carpeting also helps delineate where your booth begins and ends. If you don't want to mess with bringing your own, you can order a carpet from the decorators and it will be put down in place before you set up. This is one of those things you need to order by deadline, usually at least 2 weeks in advance. Now that you know what size your shop will be and what it will hold, what else needs to be considered? Well, first, the door. You wouldn't block the entrance to your shop, would you? Or put a barricade between you and your customers? That's what happens when you put a table at the front of your booth. Instead, set the booth up in a U shape with an interesting eye-catching display at the back of the booth to draw people in. Making room for couples to step out of the flow of traffic means you can get their attention and start the sales conversation. Include seating for potential clients in your booth, and it will help keep couples in your booth and talking to you even longer. Next, let's talk about signage. When you arrive at the expo venue, you'll see a small identification sign in your booth. That's all that sign is intended to do, tell you where to set up. If you want couples to see you as a professional, your booth needs to look professional. A colorful banner with your name, website, etc. hanging from the back of your booth makes it easier for couples to find you. 8-foot banners, either 2 or 3 feet high, stand out, are easily hung off the back pipe of your space, and can usually be purchased for less than $100. Another fabulous sign idea is a full backdrop for your booth. It's eye-catching and costs around $200. With both banners and backdrops, do not include anything referring to a specific show or date. This will allow you to reuse the banner at future expos, open houses, etc. One of the most important things to remember about signage is that it needs to be visible. This is a great looking booth, open and welcoming. It'd be even better, however, with a banner at the top of the booth. Logo table covers and runners are a great way to help identify you, but they really can't replace a hanging banner. Once the expo opens and the aisles get crowded, attendees aren't going to be able to see your company name on the front of your table. Keep your booth clear of too much decor. You want to entice attendees to come into your booth so they can start the sales conversation, but if there's no way for them to come in, they may keep on walking. Keep it clear who you are. Don't fall into the trap of over-decorating your booth. Yes, it is a bridal and wedding expo, but decorating like a wedding can be confusing. In this case, the booth on the left looks more like a home accessory shop than it does a real estate company. In the photo on the right, without a bold sign, it's hard to tell if this is a venue, florist, or rental company. Another way to help you stand out is lighting. All the show venues have overhead lighting, but lighting your booth will help you attract attention. And special lighting doesn't have to cost a lot. Clamp lights, available at most home improvement and discount stores, can put you in the spotlight. A floor lamp or two will help create a warm, intimate glow, inviting couples into your booth. Almost any extra lighting will help you stand out. Make your booth memorable. Find an interesting, amusing, or unusual item to include in your booth. Take a photo to include with your follow-up email marketing. If you're a photographer, it might be a large photo of an unusual couple or angle. A baker might have one over-the-top or distinctive cake they are known for. A florist might do an over-the-top display including an unusual flower. Couples are going to be seeing a lot of exhibitors. Give them something to remember you. When designing your booth space, don't include chairs for the staff. There's not a person in the world who can go from sitting to standing without it seeming like an imposition, and that's not the impression you want to give off. Be upright, smiling, and ready to interact with couples. If you have them or want to invest in them, you'll be grateful. Bring a couple of tall stools so you can lean against them. Even sitting with one foot on the floor is going to make you seem more approachable by attendees than a chair will. Do, however, include seating in your booth for attendees. Their feet are just as tired as yours, and giving them a place to rest for a few minutes will give you more time to talk to them and start the sales conversation. Another big no-no is eating in the booth. No one wants to interrupt someone eating, and greeting a bride who comes to your booth in mid-bite or chew isn't attractive. When you need to get something to eat, step away from your booth. That's another reason why you need more than just one person to handle a booth. You can learn more about staffing your booth in the booth staffing video. Now let's look at a few booths that got it right. The great wooden backdrop, along with the lace tablecloth and accessories, helps carry the vintage feeling throughout the booth. The larger photos on the back wall draw attention and let attendees know exactly what this exhibitor does. Also, there's plenty of room for couples to walk in and get a closer look. Here's another good booth. As if the full-size backdrop isn't enough to catch the eye of attendees, putting a standing banner on the table gets the logo higher, easily seen above the heads of attendees. A large Enter to Win sign completes the look, all set towards the back of the booth, so couples have to come into the booth. A tall standing banner gives attendees all the info they need, while the white flooring defines the display area, and a white draped greenery and hanging floral display helps draw attention to the booth over the heads of attendees. If you're going to need any of these things, electricity, food permits, tables, chairs, carpet, be sure to order by deadline, usually at least 2 weeks in advance. Not only will it save you money, it's the easiest way to make sure what you need is ready and available on setup day. When planning your booth, pretend you're going to have to set it up on a deserted island with no way to get anything you might forget. You've got to bring it all. That's why we recommend you keep a list of things that you use or will need as you set up the booth. Here are some items we have found exhibitors often don't think about packing. Here are some things to remember. Think of your booth as your pop-up wedding shop. Set up a practice booth before the expo so you know what to bring and what needs to be ordered. Order the tables, etc. before deadline, usually at least 2 weeks before the show. Keep your booth open and inviting. No tables barring the entrance. Good signage hung high is critical to stand out in the crowd. Plan on flooring to save your feet and anchor your booth. Don't forget the lighting so you really shine. We hope you found this video helpful in your bridal and wedding expo planning. Don't forget to check out the other videos in this series: before the show, booth staffing, prizes and collecting leads, starting the sales conversation, show specials to make the sale, after the show, and do's and don'ts. Thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing you at the next Bridal and Wedding Expo.